Hi everyone, my name is Anika Gunning, and today I will be presenting to you on governance and regulatory policy compliance and the role it plays in the issue-specific security policy of Computer Gaming Technology Inc. The aim of this policy is to govern CGT's IT security throughout the organization. But before we get into the policy, let us first understand what is meant by governance. Governance is doing the right thing. With governance, we ensure that the security strategies are aligned with the business objectives and is consistent with the regulations. More often in the organization, there's a tendency of confusing governance with management, but they're relatively different. With governance, we it is used to determine who is authorized to make those decisions. While with management is making the right decisions in order to mitigate the risk. So the role of the policy basically is to protect our company and each individual users of CGT's information. CGT aims to protect our brand, our customer, clients, and users' information, as well as to ensure that whatever products we distribute are protected from internal and external threats and attackers. Let's take a look at Computer Gaming Technology Inc. ISSP policy. In our policy, we have input an organizational chart which details the flow of delegation of duties from our CEO to its executive. We have Mr. Alan Hack, who is the CEO, and he's responsible for the delegation of tasks to his executive bodies. Underneath, you have Marie Lafleur, Jamie Roma, who's the senior executive assistant and the executive interim. And then you have Mr. Richard Xavier, who is the chief operations officer for the gaming division, and he's responsible for the development, testing, and client support. We also have Rachel Zhang, who is chief business officer of CGT, and she's responsible for the administrative department, which comprises of accounting, human resources, and the marketing department. Also, we have the Chief Information Officer, who's Mr. Paul Alexander, and he's responsible for the entire internal IT functions of CGT. He's responsible for the System Operations Department, the Network Operations Department, and the Server Operations. At CGT, we do not have a cybersecurity department, and so the IT department is responsible for the day-to-day activities of anything security related. At CGT, we have implemented within the policy a list of definitions that we believe our employees/users should be familiar with to prevent any misconceptions. I will just run down the list. So the desktop you'll hear very often because that's the only form of computer that is utilized at CGT. Or internal network is the Ethernet, or software as a service is a convenient way to communicate from anywhere. We have an external storage, which is the backups. The key regulatory issues associated with our ISSP policy at CGT or bring your own devices. These are prohibited from entering our property to prevent security vulnerabilities. Software management, updates and patches, we guarantee to do these on a monthly basis to prevent any form of exploitation from hackers to or any CGT vulnerabilities. Least privilege is another one. We only give access to those who require this for the job. Anyone that is not required to have access will not, and will reduce any risk for attackers, outside attackers, actors gaining access to critical information on CGT's network. At CGT, our users are not allowed to access Wi-Fi connection. Employees are expected to utilize only the desktops that are provided by CGT to complete their work task. These desktops should be connected to wired cable or, as you may also know it, the Ethernet. With these desktops, they are not allowed to leave property at any time. And as it pertains to the virtual private network, only upper management are allowed to use these virtual private network, and it is only during business hours. In addition, there should be no BYO devices on property. They are restricted and they should not be on property. Employees can leave these devices in their personal vehicles, in their locker, and can access these devices on their break period. In the policy, there is also the fair and responsible use. And with this, users using CGT's network and technology must only use this for the purpose of work-related tasks. Anything other than that is prohibited. And all users must conform to this, or it can result, if there's no confirmation to these laws, it can lead to federal and state laws being broken, and penalty can be added as such. Moving along within the policy, we have CGT protection of privacy, and we are big on protection and privacy at CGT. CGT private and confidential information must be protected and accessed by only the authorized user. So only if you have access to that information, you should access it. If you are not authorized to utilize those information, you should not. All laws must be followed and adhered to in order to protect this information. In the policy, we highlight the disruptive use or misuse. In this scenario, all employees should adhere to these rules. If not, they can face penalty for violation. These penalties can be for if employees decide to connect to Wi-Fi, when in the policy it distinctively states that no Wi-Fi should be connected to. If you are unauthorized to access systems and you access it and is caught, then there are penalties for those as well. You are restricted from bringing, all employees are restricted from bring your own devices to the property, and if any users is caught with these devices on property, then they will be held accountable. Devices, BYO devices should be left in the possession of employees' vehicles or lockers and can only be accessed on their break period. As I said before, any misuse of company's technology or software can lead to penalty for violating the company's policy. CGT employer monitoring. At CGT, because all our activities happen on servers or in the cloud, these information are monitored. The computer data are only stored on servers, and so any activity is monitored by the Information Security Department, the IT department. As I mentioned earlier, only those who are authorized to connect to virtual private networks should, and these traffics are monitored as well. Virus protection. At CGT, we take protecting our devices very serious, and this is why we have installed on every devices on our property that is owned by CGT. We have installed antivirus on all our devices. Each device on the network will have these antivirus installed to protect them from malware or any viruses. These antivirus should not be tampered with or removed. If for any instance these devices are tampered with or for any reason the antivirus is not working, it was removed, it is non-functional, you should report this matter to your IT department so that they can immediately get this installed on these devices, or if these devices need to be replaced or changed, we will do so. In regards to encryption, CGT will encrypt all data, and those that needs to be backed up on a daily basis will do so. On a weekly basis though, the IT department will run off-site backup just in case for any reason at CGT we may encounter any situation that could be a ransomware, that our information is being held for a ransom, or if we have lost the data of any sort, then this backup will come in handy. And so this is why we ensure that on a weekly basis we do an off-site backup, separate and apart from the backup that we do on a daily basis. CGT procedures for reporting violation. So you see at CGT, the procedure for reporting any violation of this policy is to our HR department. You can call them, you can go there, whatever it is. Any violation should be reported to the HR department. Penalties for these violations. So, regarding the violations at CGT, if anyone violates the policy, any part of the policy, it should be reported, as I said before, to the HR department, and then whatever corrective actions will come after. Depending on how severe the violation was, It could also lead to termination. And if the violation is deemed as anything that would include law enforcement, then CGT will take the necessary steps to do so. Schedule review of the policy. CGT will do an annual review of the policy. So any update regarding this policy will be done on an annual basis. We have come to the end of this presentation. I hope that the information was clear, and I hope that all users understand the importance of the policy and will adhere to all aspects.